Well, who are you going to take here, Sal? You're back on the clock. Pease nuts. I just want to keep saying that. He avoided quarterback altogether once Breeze was gone, and I think that's the right response. Like, you don't want to overreact to that pick and just snatch up Roethlisberger. But who are you going to take here, Sal?
Right, like I'm just looking at the players available. I'm not really into any of these running backs at this point in the draft because those are all just a bunch of guys I think you can take later on. I don't really want to take a tight end just yet. I like Jordan Reed, but I don't think I really want to spend a high pick on him right now just because I know there's going to be later options available. So it's basically just I'm going to just take whichever receiver I like the most out of this group, and that's Alex Smith is the number one receiver.
I was going to take him. It's a good pick.
Macklin it is.
Especially that much later than someone like Dante Moncrief. I mean, Macklin's better than Moncrief.
Yeah, I have them ranked pretty close to each other in my rankings.
Yeah, no offense to Boots' team who did take Moncrief, because maybe he just has a really great case for why he took Moncrief that early. But I think Jeremy Macklin has the ceiling of a top 12 wide receiver in that offense.
Right.
Yeah, I buy the hype on Moncrief. Like, I like him a lot, and I have him ranked accordingly. But the problem is that there were too many other, safer, very good players available when he made that pick. Like, I think you kind of have to, like, you can tie your boat to Moncrief, but you want to do that right now. You want to do that in the 5th round or the 6th round, not in the 3rd.
Right. And it's all about getting the best value for your pick.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm just going to ask, what do you guys think about 0 RB in a 2-quarterback league?
I like it, especially in a 10-team league like this. There's so many, especially in PPR 2QB leagues. There's so many pass-catching running backs later on that have a lot of value. Someone like Sims or Washington or Theo Riddick.
That's the only place you can deploy it, though, is a PPR format. Like, if you're trying to get away with that in a standard scoring settings situation, I can't stand it. Like, I hate it. And even in half PPR, like, I don't think that you should just decide before your draft that you're not going to draft a running back till the 7th round or whatever, because there are running back values that'll pop up. Like, some of these guys are very good, and there are only a handful of running backs that have that ability to become true 3-down workhorses who are going to be in there for a lot of carries, a lot of catches, and those are the guys who have running back one upside, and I want those guys on my team because I do feel like it's easier to mine talent, predictable talent at the wide receiver position in those like early-ish, but not earliest picks, and the mid-rounds.
That's right. All right, so I'm just looking at the board right now. We're at pick 46, and I'm just looking at our ADP, and we have Big Ben as the next quarterback off the board on ADP at pick 39, quarterback 6. So what's the over-under on Ben's ADP, do you guys think, in this draft?
I think he'll go pretty soon. I think he goes before the end of the 6th round.
I'd say past the 6th round, or... No, he's going to go pretty soon, for sure.
It's been too long since anyone's picked a quarterback.
Yeah, within the next 5 or 6 picks, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the teams now, or who has the quarterback. You have 2 of them, Jeff. I've got 1,
right.
That's 3. Then Wilson, Luck, so that would make 5 teams. So half the league has a quarterback.
Both these guys at the turn need a quarterback, so I'm thinking...
All 3 of these guys at the turn need a quarterback.
and that's one thing I kind of try to stress when I write about 2-quarterback draft strategies. Keep track of the quarterbacks that have been taken.
Oh, you have
to. By which teams, so that you can see when you should start targeting a quarterback. So if you're like sandwiched between 2 teams that each have a quarterback, you might not have to go quarterback next pick. And as I was talking,
the over-under
Ben Roethlisberger.
was 1 pick is what the real over-under was. Take the under.
It's a good call.
Yeah.
Good question.
See. Yeah, I don't really want a running back or any of these running backs necessarily, especially because I have 2 already. It would go. The guy would go right into my flex. So like wide receiver is probably where I should be picking, but this does feel like a tier or group of available guys that I kind of don't care which one of these dudes would end up on my roster. Like Edelman versus J Matt versus Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can try to wait till my next pick to get one. So I'm actually starting to think about taking Jordan Reed here. And again, I hate tight ends early.
No. But in the end of the 5th round, that's not bad. I think he tends... Well, I know in 1 quarterback leagues there's a 3rd round ADP.
That's not bad at all.
I am going to take a receiver and see if Reed makes it to me in the next round. I'll take him there. And what do I want here? I've got Evans and Thomas. Okay, I want a floor guy. I want a nice PPR player. I'm just going to take Edelman. He's the top of the Yahoo ranks here.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the ADP on our site, Jordan Reed's tight end number 2 at pick 42 overall. So He's already surpassed his ADP in this particular draft.
Yeah. I like Edelman in that spot, mostly because of the guys I've already drafted. Because I have Mike Evans and Demaryius Thomas, those touchdown upside guys. I probably don't have Edelman ranked ahead of some of the other available players, but that's you do have to diversify your types of players and how they score points. Do you guys do that too?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Edelman is pretty high floor, it seems. I almost took him over Doug Baldwin, but I mean, the injury situation is the only thing that steered me away from Edelman. But in any kind of PPR format, it seems like his floor is like 80 catches.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break and jump back in here when I'm back on the clock. Well, of course, as soon as I hit pause, Jordan Reed gets selected.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah. Sad trombone. Back on the clock here. I'm starting to look at QBs. I've got, my 3 wide receivers, my 2 running backs. I could go straight for the flex, take another wide out, but kind of that feeling I had with my last pick is echoed here. I don't like any of these guys so much that I really want them in my flex over my first QB, and I feel like I've waited long enough, and Tom Brady's still staring at me. I'm not afraid of the suspension. Angry Tom is a narrative that I want to believe, so I'm going to draft him and figure out my starters for the first 2 weeks later. And now I'm still drafting late round quarterback. That's the best part of drafting Tom Brady.
All right, so let's stay on that just for 1 second. What is your plan going to be to replace Brady for those first 4 weeks?
Why would I tell you while I'm drafting with you, Sal?
We're drafting for the people.
For the people? Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is that, and I talk about this on the podcast a lot, I don't care who my quarterbacks are, really. And I like that I can get Tom Brady at a discount and get that, potential QB1 level production on a week-to-week basis when he does come back. So if I can have that after week 4, and I can just kind of tread water with Jay Cutler and Matthew Stafford, or Jameis Winston and Ryan Tannehill, or Alex Smith and Joe Flacco, that's fine with me because those guys only have to carry me through those first 4 weeks. So I really don't care. I don't want to start Sam Bradford or Jared Goff or Case Keenum, but those guys in that kind of 20 to 25 or 20 to 28 range, those are the guys I'm targeting.
And is matchup scheduling going to play any factor into your draft strategy?
It probably should, but I haven't done that research yet. So, Sal, maybe you can tell me who you like at the beginning of the season to replace Angry Tom. You may have written an article about this, in fact.
I think I may just have done such a thing. Well, I know Jimmy Garoppolo has one decent matchup in the first 4 weeks, so I think it's not really something I would put too much emphasis in handcuffing at the moment. I'm just going to make my pick here, and I'll get back to some Tom Brady talk.
What do you think about Brady this year, Jeff?
I mean, I like him. I agree with you with the Angry Tom thing. And the fact that, he's going to miss the first 4 weeks. Most quarterbacks are obviously not going to have a 4th round, or they're not at all going to have a first, second, or third week bye. I think only Aaron Rodgers has the 4th week 4 bye. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it worked last year, and he worked 16, and he played for 16 games.
All right, so going back to the Brady thing, it depends what your mentality is towards quarterbacks. I know, Greg, you don't really care who your quarterbacks are. So RG3 pairs up really nicely with Tom Brady, and he's a late round pick.
Yeah, and he's a guy, we were talking about this before we started recording, but I'm starting to talk myself into RG3 a little bit more. I like the way that offense is starting to shape up. You were talking about how he was looking good in the preseason, which I don't watch preseason or really care, but, positive news is positive news when it comes to him. It's been so long since we've seen him play football that, seeing him do anything positive is good for me at this point, because I don't know what to expect. I'm super scared off by the unknown of it all.
Yeah, and to start off the season, he has Philly, Baltimore, Miami, and Washington in his first 4 games.
Dang. That's a nice schedule.
Yeah,
anybody's watching tonight's pregame and saw that he threw 2 touchdowns, it gives you some hope in his ability.
Yeah. His ADP is going to go up. And those rushing yards will really shoot him up the rankings, too.
So, Sal, you just took Larry Fitzgerald and Dion Lewis. Tell us about those picks.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona receivers, I think you can really make a case for any of the 3. You're just sitting there at the top of the draft board. And as my 4th receiver flex option, I think Larry makes a nice option there. I do like 0RB. Dion Lewis is kind of one of my top running back options that I like to target in drafts. So this kind of gives me the leeway to either, tack on another running back to kind of play the matchups in that spot. But if Deion Lewis is healthy, we saw what he was doing last year on a points per game basis, and he makes a really solid option as a running back too.
Yeah.
Who you like here, Jeff, for your pick?
I mean, looking right at the top with Jeremy Hill. I mean, he's got I don't know. I felt like he's got a pretty good chance to lead the league in touchdowns, really. I mean, he had a terrible year last year, and he did lead the league in touchdowns. And yeah, I'll go Hill. I mean,
so that puts a running back into your flex. You've gone 0 wide receiver here in this 2QB draft. That's right. Pretty bold.
There are so many good receivers this late. I feel like I'll be okay. Like guys like Mohamed Sanu or Travis Benjamin or Rashad. I like Matthews too in Tennessee. Now that DGB's gone and Kendall Wright's banged up too.
So what's the difference between Jeremy Hill and Chris Ivory?
Jeremy Hill is way more talented. He's much younger. He's a lot more explosive. I mean, they're both goal line backs. I think Cincinnati's going to be in a much more ball control, run-based offense now that they lost Jones and Sanu. So I think they're just going to feed Jeremy Hill, and they're not going to let Andy Dalton lose games for them. So I don't know. I like Hill a lot this year. I like Gio Bernard too. I think both those running backs could be top 20 pretty easily in fantasy.
So we just saw Eli Manning go in the middle of the 7th round. I think this might be the time where we see a quarterback, like a mini quarterback run now that Eli's gone.
Well, and yeah, like you talked about last time it was coming towards me in the draft, there are a lot of teams here at the end who only have 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw Carson Palmer go, 51st pick. I think once teams see like the Palmer, Eli Rivers tier get off the board, it's like they have this panic where they have to get a quarterback next if they don't have one.
All right, I'm back on the clock here. I'm going to take Michael Crabtree. I love Crabtree this year. I don't understand how he could have the year he had last year with kind of the draft pedigree he had before that, and people still be so down on him. Do you guys like Crabtree this season?
Yeah, I like him, especially when he's like your like wide receiver 2, 3.
He's my wide receiver 4.
Even better.
That ain't bad.
Yeah, I love his value. I love that he's being so disrespected this year.
Yeah, he's a high floor guy. He's in a much better offense than he was in San Francisco. And I don't know. He got paid too, so hopefully he doesn't slack off again.
I think
that's probably the biggest concern.
Yeah.
And if you look at the receivers and running backs on the board, it kind of goes back to just point why I took Jeremy Hill. There are just so many receivers available that you can make a case to be like a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 compared to that running back pool. So it's something to kind of keep in mind in your 2 quarterback draft when you're in midstream.
Here comes your quarterback run. After I took Crabtree, Rivers, and Bortles, next 2 picks.
There's that. Yeah, 3 of the last 5 picks are quarterbacks. And I think that just wipes off the QB1 tier now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Tyrod Taylor and Tony Romo are still available. Sal.
I'm just talking about in terms of quarterbacks drafted.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're talking more about ADP. Like I'm talking about guys who I think actually are quarterback ones.
Yeah. I mean, I was just saying there's 10 quarterbacks drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Dalton, Cousins, Stafford, Carr, Tyrod, Fitzpatrick. You can just keep going down the list, and it just keeps making a reason why you should go late on quarterback.
Yeah, it's such a crapshoot. According to Twitter, Tyrod Taylor will be the number 1 quarterback ever.
So someone retweeted me. I love Tyrod. I might draft him right now.
I mean, everybody loves Tyrod.
I might join the quarterback run. It's not the beer talking either.
Well, so he's quarterback 14 with an ADP of 77. We've had 10 quarterbacks go, and we're now at pick 72, so it's around his ADP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not quite the value that I want. To be completely honest, like I feel like there are still, like you say, enough quarterbacks where I could wait another round before I start to fill in for Tom Brady. But I don't know. Looking at who's still available here, like there are actually a number of running backs who I still like here. There aren't a whole lot of great wide receiver options.